We are live
from the Anacostia Arts Center, from the Nubian Human in the Anacostia Arts Center in historic Anacostia, Southeast Washington, D.C. Welcome to the NeighborishLiveCast. We back home in Southeast where we belong. You know, last week we was in the studio, but we back in the home spot. You see the young lady behind us with the crazy dude. You know? So that's how you know we in the spot.
What's up, Freedom? Stay tuned, brother. I'm sorry.
We got a great, you good, man. We got a great show for you today. Definitely with me as always. I'm Super Dave. Like, look, I'm all mixed up today. I'm Super Dave, aka Mr. Incredible. And with me as always is DC's native son, the FC3 representative. He got a mixtape popping right now. Jaysun for president. Super popping. Yes. Jaysun is in the building. Man, we got a lot to talk about today. It's a lot going on. And our guest today is he really needs no introduction, man.
He does need an introduction.
He does?
Give him one.
I mean, I'm definitely giving him. I'm saying he doesn't need one. They see his face and they already definitely
I see what you're saying,
Dave. You know,
I get it.
Because he's one of those dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see him and you know who it is. But just in case somebody might have been living under a rock for the last 10, 20 years. This dude has done everything. He's first of all, he's one of the funniest comedians that I know, that I can personally say I know.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I think the first time I really saw you do your thing was with Ralph Cooper over at RDF.
Oh man, RFD.
And that because RFD. I always mix the joint up because I've seen you around. But the first time I really saw you like do your thing was there. It was as hilarious as everybody. Like Jay always said, you know, everybody always say, and just saying you actually do a full set, man, I'm blown away. And it was, and you and Ralph had me feeling like I was going to get up and try to be a comedian for like 5 minutes, but I didn't. I was nervous. I told Ralph we had him in here a little while ago. I told him it was that night that Huggy came through and killed. And it was crazy. But anyway,
I heard everybody started bombing after Huggy.
Yeah.
In the words of Eddie Bryant, you got to be able to follow heat.
You gotta be able to follow the heat.
You better know it.
But this dude has been on Comic View, Martin Lawrence First Amendment comedy special. What else? He hosts all over the
Minnesota
city.
He's
been, been all over the country and in different countries. He's a writer, an actor. One of the best stand-up comedians I know, ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Bryant is in the building. So glad to have him here with us.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
And we're going to get into a lot of things. I want to talk to you about your career, about your life, about what you've been up to.
Okay.
But of course, you know,
are
first
you the
a few
police?
things. No. Okay. I'm not wearing the wires.
Good.
He's from a police family, though.
From a police family, though.
Right? Well, my dad was retired, but but yeah, we're going to get into all that. But of course, it's a lot of things going on in the city.
Like pork. It smell like pork.
In the city and the country and the world that we got to talk about. First of all, of course, yesterday we lost one of the greatest athletes to ever play any sport.
Yeah.
And basically, Jaysun is going to give us a little something. He said, when I asked him what he was going to do, he said, I got some shit for that. That was his words.
Right. Well, here we go, Freedom. Well, Dave had hit me up last night, after the news about Kobe and his daughter, right? And he was like, I'm a basketball dude. So he's like, have some stats and all that, right? But basically, for the basketball heads, because, that's a fraternity in itself. Like, ballers have their own fraternity, and it's a certain energy and a certain spirit that surrounds, just like how comedians got their own fraternity. Like, it's just certain things that y'all know, little nuances that only comedians would know. It's the same thing with people who play like organized basketball and come up in that culture. So the obvious things is, Kobe got 5 rings, he got MVP, he got 2 finals MVPs, and the day before his passing, LeBron had just passed him for 3rd all-time scoring behind I think it's Kareem and Karl Malone, and it was Kobe, but LeBron just passed Kobe the day before incident. But the interesting phenomenon about the untimely passing of Kobe and his daughter is I did a show Saturday in the Anacostia Arts Center. We do playback theater, and so playback theater is when you tell your story, and then there are a group of actors that play back the story that you tell live in front of your face. And one of the brothers came up and shared his story, and the story is about his most memorable moment in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And this is all gonna tie in. Just follow me.
No.
So he, So his most memorable moment in Washington D.C. was when he experienced the Million Man March.
Man.
I think October. I think it was at 95 or
95.
99, October 95, and he was like
October 13th.
Yeah. And so he was like, that's the most memorable experience that he experienced in Washington D.C. And some people may know that brother. It's the brother that owns the T-shirt joint, Unities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, he was like, that day he saw black men all day, all night, just helping each other, telling each other openly through the streets, "I love you, brother. I love you, brother." He was like, people were just crying all day and just hugging each other, and just being extra. He was, it was basically like he had never experienced that before or since.
Yeah.
But to experience it, for a fact that it's possible, that exists. It's like, even if it don't happen no more, no one can never tell you that can't ever happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So tying that show in, which was Saturday, and then the next day, the untimely passing of Kobe and his daughters. And even though I ran down some of the statistics of Kobe and the basketball world, for the ballers, this is the real energy of what's happening. So I was not a Kobe fan as far as basketball, right? So I just was like, yo, he's an excellent baller. Arguably the best player in the world. You could argue him, Jordan, LeBron, like that ain't up for me to debate. But those are the three names that are always in the conversation. Just like you
And
go
Kevin
like,
Durant, and Kevin Durant. Oh.
no, Kevin's not in it yet because of his age, but
Right.
Kevin Durant is definitely will be there, like as
Okay.
far as his talent. But because Kevin Durant is just still in his prime,
Right.
he's not in the conversation yet. So
Right.
no disrespect to Katie, because I definitely feel that sentiment. But I'm just saying, as of now, those are the top three guys that people mention. And so when he passed, this is the reality, is that I felt it. It's like, I don't even know this dude, let alone really like fuck with him personally. But it's like without having a theory or anything that was written down or told to me, I instinctively felt the pain of him being gone. Like without, like without being a fan of his or anything. And then the reality is, the truth, the facts is, it's like, oh, the reason that happened is because I am connected to him. I am directly connected to this person. But it's only because I've seen him from a teenager, 17, 18 years old, and I've watched his whole life in front of my eyes, as we all have, right? And so if we had the opportunity to see someone their whole lives until they become an adult and have children and go through ups and downs, we will recognize like, oh, we're connected to every person. Like there's a human connection to every person without being told, without being taught in school, without anyone telling you or informing you any words. It's just an initial feel. And so with his passing, and since this is basketball, and basketball or any sports don't really have much relevance to our struggle as humans, here's the underlying theme. What Kobe was known for was his tenacity, his will to win. The reason he got Mamba as a nickname, because a Mamba is a snake with deadly venom that will kill you to win. And it's like, if ever you play basketball, you're a baller, or any type of sport, that's what separates good athletes from great, dominant, super athlete. It's that killer instinct. Like, yo, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get victory. Like, I don't care how tired I am, I'm going to go the hardest that any human being could possibly go. And I have the will and the tenacity to win over any. I could be down 20 with 3 minutes left. I'm going to score fucking 20 points and I'm going to hit the. So it's like, that's what Kobe Bryant represents as a human being. And so, even though I wasn't a fan of his, and to not allow his untimely death to be in vain, I think the takeaway is that Kobe Bryant is a world symbol. He what he represents to the world is that spirit that I'm talking about. Like I will win throughout any adversity. Like, I will train harder. I will be up earlier. I'm going to out everything you because I have to win.
Right.
And so, because Kobe Bryant is boxed in to this category of basketball, it limits what that drive in him has the capacity to do. So that Mamba mentality carries over to your everyday life. If you're dealing with illnesses, you know what I'm saying? If you're dealing with conflict in your home and in your community, if there's a certain demographic of people that feel oppressed and want to be released from the stranglehold of monetary, stress, it's like, to get out of these situations, it's that same spirit, that passion of that killer instinct of doing whatever you have to do to get victory. And I think that's kind of what Kobe represents without being in the context of basketball. That's all I got, Dave.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
My camera just...
Because everybody in the world know Kobe, man. And it's like, but everybody in the world don't necessarily follow basketball, but in whatever people do, you know what I'm saying, they know that mentality that it take to win.
Sheesh.
You know what I'm saying? And we think that it just apply to sports, but as we all know, the only reason sports exists is to channel those feelings and those emotions, in war simulation, well, especially football. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of why football was like the American, sport, especially in wartime. I think it was Eisenhower. It was like to train young men's minds to be ready for war. And,
really?
Yeah. And so when you talk about a brother like Kobe and you take him out of the context of basketball, like, he would be an ultimate warrior.
Yeah.
Because, that's who you want in the foxhole with you when shit on the line. Like, he gonna dig deep and, like, whatever it takes for victory. Right? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
before you, he the last one to leave.
yeah, and it's like, he gonna win. He gonna win. And so it's
100%.
like, and that's what it take,
We had the same slave master.
Yeah.
Yeah, my last name Bryant too.
Oh, yeah? That's right.
Yeah.
Your name's
I didn't know where he was going with that. I'm glad you...
Yeah. So maybe you got it in you, too.
Yeah, maybe.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna work, though.
Yeah.
No quit.
Yeah, so, it's definitely a tragedy. At the time this show is airing, the most information we have is that it was him and his daughter and 7 other people on the helicopter with him. This dude was taking the helicopter places. You know you made it when you know what I'm saying?
He been doing that for a while.
For a minute, right? With going to the games
Lakers
and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he said just because, sitting in traffic would tighten them up.
Well, if you never lived in L.A. and know about the traffic in L.A., brother, I was either going to get a tank or a helicopter, one or the other.
Well,
but yeah, that's...
I think with Kobe, or this whole, the to see the human connection, and online, some people are emotionless. I seen a comedian, quote unquote, say some hateful stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just rude and obnoxious to bring it up, at that time. And when you're behind these keyboards and these phones, you can be one way, but it's
studio gangster.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
It
but
is.
Prayers and condolences go out to their family.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And everybody that's affected.
Right.
It's a lot of brothers like that was their hero.
I don't know what a nigga could say that's funny. Like his dad with his daughter.
He wasn't trying to be funny. He was just trying to be mean.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And was happy about it and jovial.
Yeah.
Which was
This
I
man.
hope he does not get booked ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm sure, like, because, you know, when people go out of their way to do stuff like that, it labels you as a certain kind of person. And so, and the industry, like you guys know, y'all been like, you know, the entertainment industry, while it can be cutthroat and things, it's a tight community. And I mean, for somebody like Kobe, who was as loved and as, you know, revered as he was, there's not a lot of people that's going to take that lightly. Out there in LA, he lucky ain't nobody, you know, stepping to him.
He might not go, he shouldn't go out there for a little while.
Right, you know. Yeah. So, but yeah, you definitely always going to see stuff like that. And that's a question I want to pose to you. Like, you know, everybody's trying to do something to get their name out there, you know, to kind of get seen, to kind of, so, I mean, these, like you said, quote unquote comedians who take opportunities like this to try to, you know, make jokes. Is there anything that you shouldn't or can't joke about?
Well, you can try to joke about anything. The goal is it going to be funny? And the thing about the art form is the audience gives you immediate feedback.
Right.
A laugh or a boo. You know what I mean? And so you know where you stand right there in that moment in time. You know, some people can paint a picture or put it up on the wall, and 20 years later somebody can really appreciate it.
Right,
you know?
right.
It don't go like that with us. It's like, is it funny or not?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Hurry up, nigga.
And you know,
hurry up and make me laugh.
hurry up. And so, you know, that's how you can try. And there's always humor where pain is the underlying emotion.
Right.
A lot of the funny is rooted in pain. So exactly. I'm sure there will be some humor. And then humor, sometimes, you know, for most of the time, it heals.
Right.
So because you're coming out of that pain, if you can laugh at the pain, then, you know, you begin that healing process. So, you know, I don't see what's funny about this particular incident at all.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know.
And it's definitely a difference between joking in a time like this and joking about a time like this. And I think, you know, so that's why I think it was great that we booked you for today. And this time, you know, we need that laughter, you know, to kind of keep us going and get us through, because that's one of the things that always will carry us, you know, through the toughest times. So definitely.
Clover says, nothing is funny about death. Leave that ish off the table. Well, I beg to differ.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
You ever seen John Witherspoon's funeral, or Bernie Mac's funeral, or even Marion Barry's funeral? Yeah, Mike Epps.
Mike Epps.
Man, that's one of the
got a standing ovation.
Right,
at
that's one of the funniest
funeral.
I ever seen. Yeah.
Because you know, when you celebrating people, you know, death is not necessarily. You know, we're the ones that's sad because that person has transitioned.
Right.
When we should be celebrating their transition. That's why when you go to New Orleans and they party for you when you pass.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's how it's supposed to be.
they're celebrating you. When a baby comes into the world, the baby is crying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like flipped.
Right.
So you know, you gotta. It's all on how you look at it.
Yeah, demons from Eddie Bryant in the building, man.
Yeah,
definitely. So, I wanted to take this moment to segue, because this is a good segue. I was trying to think about how to bring up this topic. It's something I've been researching for a little while, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it because it's something that we don't really talk about as much, and it's working on wills. Like, you know, a will, living wills, and trusts. And I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I just wanted to talk about it. I watch a lot of court TV shows. I'm home during the day.
You watch Judge Judy in particular.
Yeah, Judge Judy. So anyway, I'm watching it the other day, and it's these two.
I told you, Dave.
I can hear Patrice now. Oh, my God! But yeah, I'm watching it the other day, and it's these two sisters on it. And they're like, fighting, hate each other because their mother passed away, didn't leave a will, and now they're fighting over money and, you know, basically the estate. And so it's so important, you know, that you take the opportunity don't wait, because you never know. Like, situations like this show us just how precious life is, and, remind us of our own mortality. So don't wait. Definitely, get something in place where your peoples will know what happened. Some people say they don't really care, because it's like, I'll be gone, so whatever they do is whatever they do. But, if you like me and don't want your family, because, death can bring out the worst in some people. Yeah. And you don't want to find out or have your family find out when you die that one of them is, one of those people. So right. Definitely look into it. There's places you can go. Most experts say that it's not really good to try to do it on your own. You should definitely either talk to a lawyer or see about one of there different programs out there online that you can use to really set up your will and get everything straight. And so look into it if you get a chance, definitely, because it's something that we all need to do, have everything in place, for your family, for your kids, who's going to take care of your kids, things like that, in case, something might happen, because we never know. No, tomorrow's not promised to any of us, like they say. Yeah. And so it's something that we definitely need to look into. So I want to move on to a lighter note. We don't want to talk about...
Thank you so much.
Right.
Nah, that's real talk, though.
Yeah, man. I don't want to talk about, death too long. We here with Eddie Bryant. We got to get some other topics going. So the Grammys was last night. Did you guys see the Grammys?
I tried. Them joints suck, man. I'm tired.
I just got debated because I didn't really look at it either. So I wanted to talk about it because it happened.
Shout out I watched Puffy's speech.
Oh, yeah.
Shout
definitely.
out to Puffy,
talking about how
P. Diddy or Brother Love or whatever
you want to do,
right. Him, her, however, him. He had a great speech. He said they on the clock.
Yeah.
But, definitely. It don't mean that. But still.
So do you feel like what he was saying about hip-hop being underrepresented?
Hip-hop was always underrepresented in hip-hop. I mean, in the Grammy situation. I mean, right. The Grammys, the Oscars, the Golden Globes, all of that shit, to me, is looking for acceptance from the status quo as artists. And I feel like black culture and entertainment in particular is actually the status quo. So why do we need acceptance from them? If we took our ball and went over here and celebrated each other the way that we want to be celebrated over here in our own institutions and leave them for theirs. Not saying that you should separate, but what is a trophy?
Right.
What is it?
Yeah, I'm just saying the same thing. It's like we begging for acceptance in a world that over and over has showed us that they don't, have any interest in accepting, what we do or acknowledging the brilliance. They rather see it and take it and then try to remix it and make it their own thing and then give themselves awards for how wonderful they did, as opposed to, recognizing the brilliance of where a lot of this stuff originally came from. And that's nothing new, as I'm sure Jay would let us know. I'm looking at his face. You're excited, right? I did this just for you. Give me something, Jay. What you got? Look, when he started looking, look, he about to go in.
What the thing is, man.
That's how he started. What the thing is, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. We say that. We say, like even with Puff's contradictory speech.
Contradictory.
Well, again, we say what we need and what we want. We do need our own. We need to celebrate ourselves, and we do not need white acceptance to make us great. But unconsciously, that's what we work for. When they're in the studios, the objective is to make hit records and to make money and to win Grammys, right? And so that's 364 days of the year. But then on a conscious day, it's like, oh, we got to do, we got to do these things for ourselves. So it's like, the effort that it takes to bring the ball into our court is very minimal. It doesn't take a lot, but subconsciously we are yearning for that white acceptance, and it's like we got to be real with ourselves. And tying this back in to Kobe Bryant and that Mamba mentality, you got to dig deep into yourself and question yourself. You might be spewing bullshit out your own mouth that you don't understand that you're doing. Talking all this shit, the They don't recognize hip hop, and we know this, nigga. It's fucking billionaires in that room. We could easily establish the things that we need to get ourselves on track as far as our own entertainment, our own sports leagues, our own everything. We have the capability to do it. We have the resources, we have the connections, we have the wherewithal, we have every position that is trained and equipped to create institutions of our own. There's some type of mental block that allows us to say the things that we want, but it prohibits us from taking the action. So it's like, I didn't fall for none of them whack ass speeches none of these motherfuckers talk about ever. Like, because it's like you talking shit, but it's like I don't see no walking. So it's like, fuck you, fuck your speech, because we still in the same predicament, making the same exact complaints that we make year after year after year without taking any action.
Facts.
So
facts.
Yeah.
Okay, Jake.
So young,
and that's why that's my homie right there.
Right. He goes all the way in.
I don't know.
Yeah, you got.
He's still, man.
He's still
and Puppy, if he see you in the street,
it's on.
Nah, you know
on
what?
Site,
No,
my
I'm teasing,
nigga.
I'm just teasing.
Nah.
No,
Pump got my guys.
it's real. That's real talk, Jake. I understand
Yeah,
your sentiment. Because you're holding us our feet to the fire.
yeah,
When
it's
it
like,
comes to making change, and so that's
But do you
where.
think nobody's really doing it? Like, because I mean, there are people who are out there that you got, like Cuban and making their own leagues. You got,
Which is a
different
great
people
game.
making
You never
moves.
bought a ticket to the Big Three. Go see
Big
it.
Three
Yeah, I
is
haven't
like that.
seen it yet. Yeah, but I
But
mean, so there are people who are making moves towards
yeah,
it.
but
do
we
you think it's not enough?
shortchanging ourselves, man. It's like we gotta hold ourselves to a higher standard. Like, we the greatest people on the planet Earth, and we accepting these little ass accomplishments as if this on the level of what we can do. We fucking make pyramids and create the greatest humans that exist on the planet. Like, we supernatural, God-like beings, and we celebrate ourselves for little ass bullshit. You know what I'm saying? That is minimal on the scale comparison of what we are capable of doing if we utilized our powers in unison. It's like, it's no way at this point, at this level in time, that we should be at the level that we're at. We supernatural God beings on planet Earth, and we talking about a fucking Grammys or a fucking sports championship, or, you know what I'm saying? It's like who are we? These are our goals. This is why we be crying and all this blood, sweat, and tears of work that we put on the line. Yeah. Like, a spirit like Kobe Bryant could lead people to victory, heaven on earth. Like, if people really understood what that meant, it's like what we got inside of us, man. It's like, man, fuck all these awards.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is tough to lead people that are complacent. Take Collins' situation. Took a knee on behalf of a people, and Carla just brought up, nobody stepped up to the plate to have his back, right? He ultimately lost a job. He made some money on the side and all of that stuff, and that's cool. It's capitalism. You're supposed to make some money in this country. But his point was to stand up for ourselves. And it was so tough for people. People kind of like played both sides of that conversation.
Yeah, he did. He played both sides.
How so?
He's a contradictory person himself.
Well, aren't we all contradictory to
No.
a
To a certain extent.
No.
No?
You claim that shit.
No, I'm just saying. You don't have any contradictions about yourself, Jay? None.
If I do, I address them immediately.
Okay.
Okay.
You are stronger than most.
No, I'm not. I'm not stronger than nobody. We are all of the same. Y'all got melanin and a functioning pineal gland, just like I got, and every other melanated person on the planet. There's nothing
but
special about me.
You have been training and conditioning yourself to overthink and understand and overstand concepts that the average everyday person is struggling to just get through life.
And I feel you. I see your passion. I feel you. But also, so I want to ask you this, as a person that's an artist coming out with music, so what's the goal for you? Like putting this, because you're putting it out, into the mainstream. You're putting it out into this same system. Like, is it to try to, I know the overall goal is to get to raise consciousness, right? Is to put vibrations into the atmosphere. Oh, let me ask you, what is the overall goal? Like, what's your goal?
Victory.
Okay, and what does that look like to you?
Well, it looks like poor and oppressed people across the world controlling our own lives, controlling our own resources, controlling our own means of production, controlling whatever it is that allows us to live a healthy, righteous, peaceful, utopian life on earth that I know for a fact is achievable and possible. And so the art that I create are just signals and messages that have been given to me to convey to other people.
And the mixtape is like that. So
yeah,
go get
thank you.
I'm not even gonna.
Please get that, because I came and got another copy.
I told him I just rocked it last night and really listened to it. It's dope.
You talking about Jaysun for mayor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I ain't get the one for
Jaysun for president is online.
Okay.
Jayson'sLyrics.com.
Jason's Lyrics.
Y'all like, why is this nigga talking all this shit?
So I was gonna
kind of breaks it down a little bit.
I was gonna read all the winners of the grant, but I don't even want to read them.
But you know what?
Forget them. No, I don't want to. No.
But the thing,
Killed it now.
It's not that, man. It's just we have to acknowledge that within ourselves. We have to. We can still we just have to acknowledge I'm flawed. I'm addicted. Like I'm addicted to a sister Mary from Market 7. She used a term, and I'm probably fucking up, but she was like, she used some term for like our unconscious desire for white acceptance. Mm-hmm. Even the strongest like niggas that wear, beads and motherfucking dashikis and shit, like subconsciously and unconsciously, there's like this desire for white acceptance.
400 years of conditioning will do that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where we at now. That's where it's coming from.
But we got to get out of it immediately. Immediately.
But it took 400 years to get there. It's going to take another. You know what I mean? It's going to take time to get it out.
It doesn't necessarily have to. And here's why. Because we are the gatekeepers. It is us that everything runs through. So it took them, our captors, 400 plus years to do this to us. But they not us. They can't do what we do. We could change that shit fucking immediately. They don't have the capabilities that we have. So it don't have to take us 400, 500 years to rewire ourselves. We are made in the image of God. And so with all things are possible through God, which is us. They can't say shit like that. We can.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and that's the fist up moment for Jaysun.
It's a whole fist up show today, nigga.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be lighthearted this morning, y'all.
It could be. We still got time. Y'all keep asking me questions and shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, you start going in.
Great interview, Dave. You knew this shit was going on.
Bring Eddie on.
You know what I mean? I gotta get my
on the deep day. We got a comedian here.
Right, yeah.
When it is a jokes, nigga.
Some stuff happened we had to talk about.
I gotta get sorry.
It's some incense.
I mean, I gotta get some sage.
All right, sorry.
Some more.
Moving right along, nigga.
Yeah. So let's keep it going. So I definitely want to talk to Eddie B a little bit about his life, about his career.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get into this interview with you, sir. It's so good to have you here, man.
Eddie Bryant.
I'm a big fan of the show. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it. I watch y'all every chance I get.
I'm a little blown that the day you came through, I had all the technical diffs. That's never happened.
It happens sometimes.
But like I said, things happen. So I want to start out by talking about some of your friends, some of the people that you associate with. I saw some things. I'm gonna put up a couple of pictures here.
We got pictures of graphics and shit.
Definitely.
We fancy, Eddie.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do what we can.
Well, you do. I don't have no.
I want to talk about your connection with a couple of these people.
That's my OG.
Chappelle mentioned Tony Woods, and I've interviewed him before. He's an awesome guy, and a good dude, and like a genuinely funny dude.
Oh my goodness! You don't know how funny.
Right. I feel like anytime I've seen him, it's just scratched the surface. I've of course seen him on Comic View and different things like that, but I saw him live at RDF also, and killed, like went crazy. Can you talk a little bit about his influence on the DC comedy scene and also yourself?
Well, Tony's influence is the reason why Tony is one of the dopest comedians on the planet. Mm-hmm. Because he is true to the art form. He is, if you had a blueprint of what a comedian should do and how they should operate, Tony is a good blueprint. What I mean by that is, he constantly is in the moment. He is constantly present. He is constantly thinking about what is going on and finding the humor in what is going on right here, right now. So, and he doesn't necessarily put on any airs. So he will go do 10,000, 20,000 seater, and then on Monday night you can catch him at an open mic with 10 people.
Man, can I just interject real quick about Tony? Because I saw Tony one time. I was like 17 years old, right? Mm-hmm. And he was like outside. He was at a college, so he was just outside, just being fucking hilarious.
Right,
Just like regular ass nigga, like no mic, no nothing, just chilling. And then he went up on the stage, and it was like the exact same. Like he didn't do nothing different. It was fucking hilarious. I was like, yo, this nigga's the same exact nigga on and off. So I just thought that was interesting.
I seen him in Rockville one day, just going to like a PetSmart and started talking to him, and I was rolling. Just
very, his work ethic is impeccable.
Yeah.
And he's managed to have a long-standing career without getting bitter. Right. Mm-hmm. So you have somebody like Tony, who's easily can do 4 or 5 specials. Right. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily have this social media presence, which everyone thinks that every comedian should have, and approaching and getting audiences. Sure, this is a new way to get at audiences. You give away your content for free, and then somehow some money's supposed to pop up. But the guy just constantly creates and evolves and shares his truth on stage, and he gives insight from. He's like a guy who is from around the way, but lives globally. So he's present across the globe. And so, and they know him everywhere. Like, I went to a strip club in Sydney, Australia.
We got to talk about that.
Cheers,
go ahead. We're going to let you finish, but we
left. We went to the comedy club. Well, first I went to a comedy store. And there was a picture of Tony Woods on the wall. And then there was these stripper bucks next to his picture with a pen in it. And so there's a story about these stripper bucks and why they're next to his name. We then go to the strip club. Strippers like, where you guys from? Oh, we from DC. Do you know Tony Woods?
Wow.
We're like, huh? How? We in this raggedy. And he's like, no. And then you talk to Tony, he tell you the story. You ask him, and he's like, no, the stripper tried to pickpocket me, and since she pickpocketed me, I took her stripper bucks out of her garter, and that's how I got them, and they were next to the picture, and I left them over at the comedy club. So and so he's like, that dude, and so he also takes the time to keep younger comics encouraged and not become bitter, because he's seen so much of the business. So when you like bitching about some small, minute thing, and he'll pull you, come here, shawty. He'll pull your coattail and give you some game of why you need to change your attitude and fix your attitude so that you can press on and have a longer career. He's a good guy.
And like I've noticed that those same attributes in you, and I see, and it's just how approachable. Like after I saw him at RDF. That's right, RDF, right?
RFD.
I keep saying RDF, it's RFD. You know,
H-E.
Jay know how I am with, shut up. But you know how I am with names. But anyway, he got up there and killed, and he's like, this is my first time seeing him live. This Tony Woods, Comic View, this Def Jam, all this. And he came right off, and me and my boy standing in the cut, he came over, chatted with us. I'm like, yo, I got this podcast. You come, definitely, man. Let me know, give me the info. Got his info. He definitely came through, killed it, was hilarious, and you had that same kind of mentality. I appreciate that so much, because there's some cats, you know, they make one room laugh, and they, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
they Martin Lawrence now, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta, well, I mean, you know, you can get used up. You know, people will use you up if you allow them. So, you know, you have to protect yourself. Some comedians are basically trying to protect themselves because, you know, when you're on your way, you can work 20, 30 years. You can make a club owner rich. Right. You can make a promoter rich, and you walk away, you got all the jokes, and you don't got none of the money.
Right. Like Kanye say, win the Super Bowl and drive away in a Hyundai.
You better know it. So no.
Yeah.
So you know. So that's more so where that vibe comes from.
And that's kind of what you were saying. What you said he was talking about you know, making people stay humble or letting you know how to stay humble and things of that nature. Yeah. Yeah, he's a really dope individual, man. So I want to move on to the next person here that we have in your Eddie Bryant. This is your life.
Cleasy. My dude, Cleasy.
Yeah, definitely. So you've been doing shows in for a while now, and I know you guys have known each other for a long time, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first time I did a show with Joe Claire, I bombed so bad, he joned my mother out for bringing me to I'm talking about, I bombed horribly. So it was this back when they was doing Go-Go's, hosted by, they was doing comedy show, hosted by Joe Claire and Chuck Brown after party. So know it's a $50 ticket.
Right.
Yeah. I come in the joint and I bomb. Crazy bomb. Okay. I put on, I ain't had no jokes back then. I had this little fake pimp swimsuit joint. It was wild. And I was goofy and I didn't have any jokes. So he joned my mother out.
Joned your mother out.
You brought him here? Why you bring him? How the fuck? You should have had an abortion. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God. So, you know, now you would think that after you bomb like that, I never talk to you again. Right? Fast forward. I am doing Club Elite. Okay. Right? And Club Elite is a club in Temple Hills, Maryland. And I had the basement. Jay can tell you, it is.
It's where I bombed.
It's where Jacob actually. And it's be funny. It's feast of family. You better be funny.
Bro, that joint is so serious. It's so serious down in that basement.
Yeah. Ain't no getting out.
Oh, that's the basement you told me.
Oh, bro, that joint is ruthless.
Oh my goodness.
He told that story a few times.
Man, it affects people.
Yeah. It's still with me, Dave. Man, I remember that shit.
It's deep, you know what I mean? And so in the basement, and it's a raggedy club. It ain't much to it. But Joe would come, and I would ask him to come and play the club regularly. And he didn't put on no airs about coming to get that little piece of money. He came, did the best job he can. We had a lot of fun, had a lot of drinks, told a lot of jokes in the jump, and boom. We got that relationship because I went and did the Bay Area Black Comedy Competition in 2007. Okay. And I came in 7th out of 60 comedians from across the country.
Nice.
Right? Didn't make it to the final, made it to the semifinals. And I placed 7th. And I caught a flight to LA, and I'm standing on Sunset in front of the Comedy Store about to go watch the show on Tuesdays. And who's hosting? Joe Clay.
Wow.
And then he's seeing me.
That's when he living in LA, right?
That's when he living in LA. Now this is the first time he's seen me since he joned my mother out. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, "What's up?" I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, "You going on tonight?" Tonight? You going on tonight? So I go on stage, kill it.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then boom, we kick it, and then that's how I got him to start coming to the basement.
Wow.
Now, you know, from that relationship, you know, it's like sometimes when people have some level of success, they put on airs.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
He didn't necessarily carry it like that with me. And so we always had, you know, a positive, like the first time I taped a TV show, right? The first time I taped BET, actually. They flew me from DC. I get to LA. They got a name with
the little dude standing there with
the I got a limo outside, all of that. Boom. Now, the reason I got the call is because the first crop of comedians that they were taping didn't do so well. It was a lot of people bombing.
Oh, okay.
And I attribute that to the audience was a booked, paid, or it was a casted audience.
Oh, wow. So I didn't know they did that on comedy.
In LA, you got to get an audience to be present. So they
audience coordinator.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. So, you know, they're not really there for comedy.
They did got a job, right? Wow.
And so, you know, and they're in there for like 12 hours.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's like I'm sitting in the seat, you move me from this seat to that seat. So, you know, they don't give a damn. So niggas is bombing horribly. Okay? And so I get there, boom. Jay Phillips come to my hotel room, take me to Roscoe's, cool. The next morning I go to set at 9 o'clock. I get to set at 9 o'clock. Joe Claire comes at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I thought he was just coming through, drop some weed off or something, and going about his day. He stayed with me the whole day. Now, he was like, you don't got to sit in there with them. We in the alley, behind the studio. We in the alley, rolling up, talking shit, listening to music, all it, just catching up. We just kicking it like we around the way. You see Bama's bombing all day. They coming outside, they coming in the alleyway crying, screaming, man. He be laughing, droning them out. And I'm nervous. At first, I'm nervous. But as the day went on, I was just cool and being present with enjoying the day. I get on, I'm scheduled to tape at 9 o'clock that night. Now, I've been there since 9 o'clock in the morning. He leaves at 8:30. And I tape at 9 o'clock. I got a standing ovation. Wow. So he said he came to kick it with me because he knew what the vibe was like backstage for everybody else, and he didn't want that for me.
Wow. So
he was kind of protecting me from, you know, being all tense and everybody. Because when you in taping, you got 40 comedians on set, and they all trying to size each other up. You know,
I'm better
I'm better than I don't even know how you even got on this show and all that old sucker shit. And so, you know, he was cool. And so, you know, that's the type of dude that he is. You know, from there, we just, you know, whatever's working, we working.
That's great. To have like a somebody in your corner, like a sensei, like a Yoda
in
your corner like that, for him to know the vibe of it and be like, this is what I need to do to have this dude do his best on there, man. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a great story about. Shout out Joe Khaleesi. And he's another one of them dudes that's so approachable. I say that at Jay when you had the cipher here that night, and he was just, hey, what up, man?
He killed it with the bars, too.
Yeah, goes in. Don't he got like a CD out?
He got new music for old niggas.
Yeah, y'all check it out, definitely. He's one of those dudes. So, the last one I'm going to put up here, you were in the room for an amazing night, and I want to talk a little bit about it because Dave Chappelle came to town. He got the Kennedy Center, the Mark Twain Award for comedy, and he went and did a set. That was at the Improv.
Just won the Grammy too for best comedy.
Yeah. That was one of the people I was going to say something about, but Jay, you killed all that. Anyway, was that the Improv?
Yeah, that was at the Improv. That picture's at the Improv. Shout out to Dave Chappelle. All right,
definitely. So, what was the energy like in that room that night? I know it had to be crazy.
So I got a call from the Improv to come and do a showcase spot in the showcase room, in the small room, all right? Now, you know, I'm getting a spot. I don't know. All I'm like, oh, boom, I got 4 spots this night. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Right? I'm oblivious, right? So,
yeah,
because all I know is I got a 15-minute spot. I'm getting some money,
right?
And I'm at the Improv working my way in the door. Cool.
Right.
Okay. Now, The show is Saturday night, 10 o'clock show. It's now, I go on at 11:30, right? I get off at 12 o'clock. And while I'm on stage, I'm like, what the hell Chris Tucker doing in here? Why is Stan Lathan in here?
Wow.
Is that Tiffany Haddish voice out here in the hallway from the stage?
Wow.
I'm like, why are all these people funneling in this small room, right? And then, I get off stage and Chris Tucker goes on behind me.
Wow.
And Pierre goes on behind me. And Mitch goes on behind, and like people are just kind of like just doing like 5-minute spots, right? I'm like, well, why are y'all even here?
Right.
So I go in the hallway. They're setting up a poster. Kennedy Center Honors, Dave Chappelle, blah 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 blah. They're doing a pop-up show at midnight for Dave,
right?
And there's 300 people outside.
Sheesh.
Right? The line is all the way up the steps, out the door.
Right.
And everybody's coming in.
And that little room, though?
No. This is in the main room.
Oh, okay,
so
okay,
they're passing our room to go into the main room.
Okay.
And so, so boom, that picture where you see me, I go into the main room and I sit in the back. I sit all in the back in the corner. And Dave comes, put his hand on my junk. And I was like, on my shoulder. Pause. On my shoulder. And I was like, congratulations, Slim, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Now, that was my second time being in the room, third time being in the presence with Dave.
Okay.
So the first time I actually spoke to him was at a funeral. The second time we talked, I was at this bar on U Street. This is right before the midterm elections. And he was helping campaign for Ben
Jealous.
Yeah. And so we are in this bar on U Street, and Dave comes in, and the bar owner shuts the bar down, and we're down that junk, just talking politics until about 4 a.m.
Wow.
And so that was the first time that he and I actually, and Tony Woods is the guy that like, yeah, you need to come through and hang out with me tonight.
Wow.
And then that's how I got to meet Dave like that.
Amazing.
But always been a fan, always whatever.
Yeah.
But just like Tony was a mentor to me, same with Dave.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just like again, that's Tony Woods.
So you gonna shout out Tony Woods when you get your Mark Twain award?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
I'm speaking it into.
Yeah.
I'm putting it out there.
I gotta get some specials, and everybody gotta buy some tickets to something.
Hey, look.
And stop faking it all that old.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll catch you next time and all that
none
old
of
other stuff.
We gotta support definitely. 100%. So I didn't get the picture, but going through like your Facebook, I saw another picture of you with a comedy legend, somebody who we lost not too long ago, Dick Gregory. And,
man.
yeah, and him being from the city, like I used to work.
It's not from DC.
Well, him living in the city.
Thank you.
All right, so he's anyway, I used to work at the Safeway on Georgia and Piney Branch up across from where Walter Reed used to be. And he lived up there, so he would come in there all the time. And a lot of the youngins ain't even know who he was. And I'd always, when he come through, you don't know Dick, go fix me some of that Dick Gregory from House Party. But they didn't know that either. I'm old. Anyway, but yeah, just to have such a prominent comedy legend and some of the stuff, like growing up, I only knew him as like the Bohemian Dad dude. Like, I didn't know about his comedy till
You never
I had
listened
to
to
be
his albums?
well, not until I had to be like maybe in my 30s. I'm about to be 40 now.
Okay.
Like, so I didn't really like. I found out he was a comedian through my dad. He told me some stuff about him. And just really like started looking up his stuff on YouTube and stuff, and just seeing how hilarious he was, how he worked rooms and stuff like that.
He was the biggest. He was the highest paid comedian of his time.
Yeah.
He bankrolled a lot of situations for the civil rights movement.
Definitely.
And paid for a lot of stuff. That picture, well, Dick Gregory would always spend time talking to comedians when we were in his presence, or we had the opportunity to be in his presence. He would always share Jews with us. That picture where I'm holding his star for the Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
We did a fundraiser at Wanda's on 7th. It's a hair salon, barbershop.
That's where I go.
Black woman.
Shout out Keita.
Yeah.
At
You
Wanda's.
go to Wanda. That's right. Miss Wanda, my baby.
Yep.
And you support Miss Wanda because she's always in the community, about the community.
Yeah, she definitely OG about that life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, she asked me to be a part of that, which was an honor for me. And again, you know, he took some time, chop it up with me. We did, me and Lamont King, we did this joint on East Street, and he would come by and share some knowledge and some wisdom with us. He made us cut our phones off, all of that. We talked for hours.
Nice.
And so he was always willing to share. And then outside of that, his life's work is a teachable moment in itself, because he always was committed, you know, to pushing us forward, to getting us to that next, to getting on the ball about being on the business of what we need to be doing, like Jay was, you know. And he came at it a little bit different.
Not too much.
Yeah, not too much.
That nigga wasn't too much different.
Right.
What kind of fool is you?
Right, yeah.
That's what Jay is saying.
Exactly.
And so, you know,
That's
that's just the type of, you know, person. And yeah, he was vicious. We just lost Fat Doctor too.
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
death on this show.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah,
are y'all gonna kill me?
No.
Okay, just checking.
We hadn't
Yeah.
planned to. I mean,
Yeah, thank you. No, Fat Doctor passed too.
Yeah.
He's also you know, as one of them guys too. But we have it's a close knit, tight community.
Yeah, it's a
You know what I
family.
mean?
Right.
Everybody's connected.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing. So we talked about all those people. I want to talk to you some now,
Okay.
Eddie Bryant. Let's talk about you. So you're Mount Rushmore of comedy, like the people you look up to the most. And you know, it's 4 faces on Mount Rushmore, but you can go past 4 if you want to.
4.
Oh, okay.
4.
This is the only contribution he gives to is making demands.
Everybody
4.
play their lane. This is my lane.
All
Mount
right,
Rushmore.
well, okay. Dick Gregory,
Yeah.
Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy.
Can you do an honorable mention after you do the 4 of them?
I guess. I like the number 5. We'll go with 5. Because we can etch a new shit.
Oh, okay. We got 5. Then we're going to go Dave Chappelle, Martin Lawrence.
There you
Okay.
go.
All right. So, yeah, because I got and Tony Woods. And,
No, nigga, Tony, don't count on this one.
oh, my God.
Come on.
Oh, my God.
Top 5.
And Mike Epps.
Yeah.
They don't count. All these other niggas he's saying now, people.
How you gonna say that? This is his, not yours.
No, it
Who
is.
is yours, Jack?
5, Mount Rushmore,
Yeah.
Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, Patrice O'Neal, who would I say? George Carlin, Richard, Dave, Patrice O'Neal.
See, it ain't easy. See,
Well, at least I got 4. I'll stick to those 4.
That's crazy. So, Eddie Murphy?
not
No.
your top.
Well, I mean, I think Eddie Murphy is one of the best, but we talking about favorite. Like so.
You said favorite.
Yeah, your Mount Rushmore, like the people that you
look at me first.
put on your,
pedestal.
not that they're better or worse than anybody else, but those
Well, I
who.
mean, I would feel like in your opinion they are better.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. So I'm not saying
Well,
any of the
that's-
people that I named are like better than Eddie
that's-
Murphy.
See, that's tough. Here's why. With basketball, we have the autonomy to say, "Oh, I like John Starks for this, and I like Kobe for that, and I like LeBron for
Nah,
this."
you making it difficult.
No.
it's best or favorite. So I have a favorite starting 5, then I have a best starting 5.
So there's 2 different lists.
Right,
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
oh.
Mike Epps is on my list
for favorite.
for favorite. I love Mike Epps, man.
He's a funny dude.
He's just silly. I just like his.
And
he's
it's
silly.
natural. I saw the audition tape for next Friday.
Yeah. I see that.
Hilarious, like so funny. Like he was killing this so bad, and the director was like, "You might not get in the movie, but them jokes definitely going on."
I need my joke. Oh, man.
I come with the jokes.
Right? Yeah.
I'll be all on that set.
Right.
You know, but it's tough to look at when we were coming up, you could appreciate everybody for their individuality. Now we live in this world where we have to have an either or.
Yeah.
And that doesn't leave room for growth for the artist or the art. You know what I mean? So you're not allowed to be human. Oh, you're not funny because you're not on Kevin Hart's status, or they quick that you're not my cup of tea. You like, was it funny or was it not funny? You know what I mean? So, you know, people, you know, just come to the clubs and laugh, man. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when did you first realize or first notice that you had the ability to make people laugh? To kind of, you know, when did that start?
3 years old.
Most comedians remember that, like, call it out immediately.
Yeah, because your family never let you forget it. So, yeah, because my grandma had a boyfriend named Blake.
Okay.
And I came in the room, you know, they sitting there having conversation on the couch or whatever. I came in the room, I said, Blake, you go home, and Grandma, you go to bed. And so, boom, they started laughing. I'm like, oh, I get a laugh. And then Mr. Dennis was my bus driver for preschool. And
I can't even remember those years.
Right, yeah.
God dang.
I was like,
but you remember the laughs, though.
I was like, Mr. Dennis, why you got hair in your nose and ears like a monkey? And he laughed real hard. Like, okay, boom.
Because you could have just answered why he had hair, but you had to say, like a monkey.
Right. And then Dr. Cafeterian was my doctor.
This nigga named Dr. Cafeteria?
Cafeterian.
With an N on the end.
Same thing.
Different.
Yeah. Providence Hospital.
Dr. Lunch Table.
Right. Dr. Lunch Table.
Dr. Multi-purpose room. But go ahead.
I'm not one for needles.
Right.
I do not like needles. So they you know, they do a terrible thing to kids where they put this big ass, heavy ass plate over top of you to keep you from moving.
They don't even do that no more, do they? That was like child abuse.
Yeah, yes. Well, they restrained me, and you know, it was him. The doctor.
Jamila said that was her doctor too.
That was her doctor. Hey, that's my man. You okay?
Man.
So boom. So then they put a plate on my body, and the nurse was holding me, and my mama was holding me, who I thought was on my side, but she was not. And I was like, you know, why y'all doing this to me? This is ridiculous. And then everybody was laughing because they like, how does 3-year-old know the word?
This is ridiculous.
And so that was my...
Call my constituents.
Right? Yeah.
You about to get a shot. You come out with all kind of...
Yeah, because they stopped laughing. It took them a minute to stop laughing and then give me the shot. But, you know, so that was how I was as a kid. And then, you know, I had delirious memorized third grade.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, that's what I was coming home watching before my mother and them got home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That shit was hilarious.
That thing was crazy.
I just watched. You remember my calling?
Yeah.
I be calling. We just be talking about comedy randomly.
Yeah. Sean, you see this is fire. I said,
this shit came out in 1983. I'm like, yeah, you see when he said this shit, nigga, that shit is hilarious.
Like it happened yesterday.
Right.
It's funny today.
1983.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it is.
It resonates today.
So a lot of comedians say, and it's obvious if you follow and watch comedy, it takes a certain type of person to get up and, you know, in front of people and actually, like, once you can go from, you know, realizing you can make people laugh, at what point did you realize this is something I want to do and pursue as a career?
Well, heartbreak pushes you to do something crazy.
Oh, yeah. You see the sentiment on it?
Heartbreak. Nothing like heartbreak to make you go chase your dream.
No bullshit.
You like, no, F this bitch. Okay.
I'm going to be somebody.
I'm
going to blow up.
A man, I'm
going to shit on her ass when I come back.
Ooh, don't be nice to me. So, yeah, no. That's when I took it seriously. I got my heart. I had a bad breakup, and I ended up moving back into my mama house over the Jones.
That'll do it too.
Yeah, man. And my mama was coming downstairs like, what you gonna do? You got 30 days. You know, she came home with her husband. And this was, me and your mother getting married in 30 days. Y'all got 30 days to get up out of here.
Damn, ultimatum.
I was like, oh, man.
Write these jokes.
Yeah, let me get these jokes. I had no therapy money, a little bit of weed. I was like, well, let me go ahead and try it. And went from, you know, Now, when I did the show with Joe Claire, I was in college. Me and Joe, my mom out. And then I had put it down, started doing video production, some other stuff in the school, did some marketing promotion for Def Jam and other stuff. And then I picked the microphone back up and took it seriously after that breakup. Okay. And then once I started being disciplined about that, I ain't never stopped.
That's awesome. You remember the first joke that went really well for you? I mean, the first professional, not the telling dude to go home.
No. The first joke
where you really got to laugh.
The first joke that got me on TV was the joke I did about the Kunta Kinte action figures.
The foot.
Yeah. With the detachable foot. That was the first joke. Rest in peace, Fat Doctor. So he had this workshop on Mondays at Jokes on Us back in the day. And Fat Doctor was, you come in there, Jones, and you like, all right, boom. So I wrote the joke. I told him the joke. He said, now, every time you get on stage, you tell this joke. I don't care what's going on. You tell this joke every time. Fast forward, Martin Lawrence First Amendment auditions came to the city. I worked my way onto the auditions. And I did the joke, and ultimately that was the joke that they were like, put them on. And so, that's how that works.
Wow. Yeah, and people kind of see, and everybody that knew him that talked about him, because I saw, what's his name? Oh man, I hate, how I am with names. I'm seeing his face in Ashley Larry.
Oh man, Donnell.
Donnell Rollins was talking about Fat Doctor and the influence that he had on him, and how he was one of those type of people that saw the greatness,
Yeah, Fat Doctor was Fat Doctor. Now, Fat Doctor is you see how he's a mentor to Donnell.
Yeah.
You hear the story about him making sure that Martin Lawrence went to the Star Search audition that ultimately pushed his career from leaving D.C. and going to L.A. and making a name for himself. Yeah. That was Fat Doctor. Fat Doctor, when we had the workshop on Monday, it would be 40 comedians in there. And everybody paid Fat Doctor $10, and he would teach you how to organize your thoughts and add some structure to what you were thinking, making sure that you had some integrity things like don't steal jokes or, some people wouldn't listen.
Right,
But, I'm gonna take a dig.
Hold on, let's dig further. So me and Eddie just went to the show at the Constitution Hall.
I was
whole bunch of big men. Look, so we listen to the niggas' jokes. This nigga Eddie pull out his phone like, I wrote this joke in 2013. Look. Like goddamn nigga.
So, and it's a situation where you think he heard it and just took it. And when I interviewed Tony Woods, I talked to him about that because that's become something that's more prevalent with YouTube and stuff. You can go back and look and be like, wait, this person did that first. And what Tony Woods said, I love his answer to it. He was like, if somebody take my joke, I'm trying to remember exactly how he put it. I can't put it, as perfect as he did, but he basically said if somebody steals my car, I'm gonna steal it back, but I'm gonna put some new rims on it or something like that. I'm gonna make it better, So
his attitude towards the same problem.
He's
like, don't worry, don't sweat the small stuff. There's a lesson that I had to learn.
Right.
Still learning that.
Okay, because you pulled out the phone on his head.
Look at this shit. Yeah. This is 2013. Nigga, you see that? You hear what he said? Look at that. I wrote that shit.
Wow.
So, but you
don't want to say who it was.
No, we're not gonna do
that. No. But that's how Fat Doctor was.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He definitely was a big influencer, and and he would do it from the Donnells and the Coco Browns and all of them. But then he would also do it for, people who were day one.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it didn't matter. So that's what we definitely appreciated about it.
So Jimmy Fallon does this thing on his on YouTube, on the show's YouTube page, where he has comedians talk about the worst they ever bombed.
Woo.
And so was it the one you were talking about with Joe talking about your mom and all that?
No,
the worst,
that's not the worst.
You remember the worst you ever bombed?
The worst I ever bombed. Shout out to Morgan State University. Mr. James said that I can get 5 minutes at the Greek step show. I cannot cuss at the step show. And I'm not Greek.
Right.
Okay? I ain't in no fraternity whatsoever. And man, 5,000 students that I went to school with every day, I know them. We walked to class together. Every day, they collectively booed me.
Get your ass off the stage.
Get your ass off the stage. Oh my! That's when I said I'm gonna go back to class and just do video production.
Just be smart. I'm gonna be smart as shit.
Smart.
How necessary is the bombing process in the path to becoming a great
Mandatory. You must bomb in order to grow. If you're not bombing, you're not taking any chances on stage. And if you're not taking any chances on stage, you're not moving the art form forward. If you're perfect every time, then something's thoroughly wrong. Yeah. So, yeah, you got to bomb.
Who makes you laugh now? Like, who out there right now is doing it and really like?
Man, Mike Epps is always on my time. I just like the silliness of Mike.
Yeah.
Of course, I like the fact that Eddie Murphy's making a comeback.
I can't wait to see this.
I cannot wait to see
Has he
that.
done any dates yet? Do you know?
No, he's working
coming.
in small clubs and whatever. But I just like watching. Well, I don't watch as much. Like me and Jay went to the Constitution Hall joint. If I was going there, I would more than likely sit on the side and like listen to it a little bit and then boom and listen to it. But I haven't watched a full comedy show in a long time since then. And the whole time I'm watching, but I'm judging. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this person did. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah.
That's something not to do when they do what you do. You know?
Yes. So, that's how you watch. I'm watching everybody. Like, I love Dominique. She's silly as hell. I like, she was on the show. Mm-hmm. Tony Roberts was crazy funny.
He killed it.
Oh, he murdered.
And that's not somebody I would necessarily watch often. But every time he comes with it, like every time.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I've seen him, he come with it.
He only got one speed.
Right.
It's funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I like Donnell, I like Joke, I like of course Tony. It's so many comedians, man. It's too many to name. Like, have y'all ever heard of Freddie Ricks? Have y'all ever seen Freddie Ricks?
Freddie Ricks.
Man, see? Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now. One of the silliest individuals on the planet, Nick Lewis. Have y'all ever heard of Nick Lewis?
No. They're not from here though.
No.
Okay.
But silly individuals, like it's a whole bunch of. That's the thing about comedy. That's what I was talking about. There's no room for, we don't get to appreciate all of these different minds because we are so worried about who's trending.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus like appreciating the artist. Like, there are 1 million museums with 1 million paintings and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From all these different artists, and we are to appreciate all of them, right? But when it comes to comedians, if you're not on this tier, then you're nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it kind of like.
And that's why I would go to Ralph's room and just sit and just watch the people on every level.
Because it was free.
Yeah, well, that too. I mean, and they had good tater tots. I'm a fat nigga. I like, but just to see people on the end of development, that's what really gave me that. Because I always had an affinity for comedy, like watching it and seeing people like you do what you do so effortlessly and making
You should try it one time.
I'm definitely going to. I'm turning 40 this year, so I might do it.
Do it on your bucket list. Come on.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
We're going to get that. We're going to open up Clever Lee for him, especially.
No,
I got nightmares and that one. No, not Clever Lee. Somewhere else, pick another spot, nigga.
But yeah, so What would you say to this date is your greatest accomplishment?
Not quitting.
Yeah.
That's a good accomplishment. I mean, you know, it's been a wonderful ride so far, and comedy has taken me all over the world.
Yeah.
Right? And so, man, like when I did that USO tour in Japan, I had a ball. I was drunk most of the time because the soldiers kept if you funny to them, they gonna get you twisted, and you cannot not say, "No, I'm not drinking tonight, fellas. I'm sorry." They're like, "Man, grab you by the neck, hoorah," and all that. So every night it's like, "Oh, you're crazy."
I heard the women over there. Anyway,
no. We didn't get when you doing them USO tours, you basically in the military, so you on their time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't get the frolicking, gallivanting.
Okay. They be frolicking.
Yeah, but they was at work. You know, they ain't on no leave. They at work. You know, most of them over there are married. And they have their wives and families over there, so they just going to work, come home.
Oh, I wish Corey Holcomb could hear this.
Yeah.
But you probably wouldn't want to frolic over there right now anyway with the coronavirus and all that going on.
I don't even drink one. I like honey.
Why did they name it after the beer, though? I'm trying to figure out. Anyway.
It's bad for business for them this week.
Exactly.
No, they need to sue. They were like, oh, wait up.
Right,
HR needs the phone call.
Something, but some would say because you've been, like you said, you've been all over the world doing comedy. You killed rooms pretty much everywhere. You writing, you acted. You know, is there anything left that you want to do that you haven't done yet?
Oh yeah, blow up.
Me personally, I would say you. But I mean, of course, there's certain levels.
Yeah,
and
I need a comedy special. I need an album. I need a tour. I need I need more branding. I guess I need to make some viral videos and whatever else, motherfuckers is doing to.
Now that you've been on this show, it's all up. It's all right down here from here, Eddie. You on now, bro. You came to the right spot.
That's right, because you got 5 people on yours. Right. I got 3 on mine.
Yeah.
Hey, look.
And Dave ain't got nobody.
No, but look, people usually watch it after the fact. Yeah. That's why I tape it and put it back out. But yeah, definitely. Jay, look, man? Let's go ahead and sponsor his special. How much money you got on you right now?
I'm plotting in the real way, so I ain't even got to make jokes.
Nope.
Oh,
yeah. We gonna get.
See, I don't shut it down.
No, I'm just letting you know, like it's already in the works.
That's dope, though, and I like hearing people like Jay say it because I know he's not bullshit.
No, we going
finna be famous.
We working. Yeah, we working constantly trying to throw stuff to the wall. So it takes. I know one thing for me is being an independent artist, meaning if at least for the first one, I'm gonna own my own album. I'm not gonna give it away.
Right.
I'm going to own. I have to have some ownership, in what I do, because as comedians, a lot of us give the producers and to get on that Martin Lawrence joint was great. Pay me $2,000 something for 6 minutes. Great day.
Not bad. Yeah.
Right? Not bad. Yeah.
That's like stripping money, ain't it?
Yeah. But he made about
Dave.
30 million. He made about 30 million on the deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so I'm like, I want to be a part of the 30 million.
Right.
Yeah, get me at that table. Yeah, so that's the key for me as an artist is being able to monetize in a major way to whereas you can see some serious money.
Definitely. So that was already some sound advice, but what advice would you give to somebody who may be watching you now and has been thinking about getting into comedy or even the young guys out there that's trying to do it and trying to get on the level of a Eddie Bryant?
Oh, well, let's see. Write every day. Get on stage as often as you possibly can, paid or unpaid. Have fun. Always be present. Don't sweat the small stuff. remember your purpose. You know, because when you're in the room and you're on stage, you have the ability to shape and shift emotions. You don't know what that audience is going through. You know, somebody can have something tragic that happened to them. Somebody might be going through a possible divorce. Somebody, you know what I mean? You don't know. Somebody just got fired. You don't know. And as comedians, we have the ability to get everybody on the same page and laugh and take a mental vacation for that hour or so that we're on stage. And that's a beautiful gift to be able to help people laugh, because that helps them live a little longer. So that would be mine.
And that's such a
That's good.
such a profound job and position to have. I'm looking at how fast like
Snap it up for yourself. I got comments too, Dave.
I look at okay. I'm gonna say this real
go
quick.
on. You sound like you about to get deep too.
Well,
Go
no,
ahead,
not
Dave.
too deep, but I just because how the society is right now. Everything's so fast and instant gratification, and everybody's attention span is so short with social media and all that. But the comedian is one of the few people who can still get, like you said, bring people together and have them on that same page and hold their attention
if you can
for
get
that hour.
them to put their phone down.
Yeah, because everybody's like this now. How do you feel about that though?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Don't be making no DVD of me.
Right.
I ain't getting no part of the money. Put your phone down. Enjoy the moment.
Exactly. So wait, you got some comments?
No, so Freedom says he got a memory about Dave Chappelle.
Okay.
So I saw Dave Chappelle do 2 sets of Carolines in New York. At both sets, someone in the audience abruptly shouted, "Chappelle!" After the sets, Dave told us that shit scared the shit out of him. A couple of weeks later, I flew to San Francisco for business, and that night I went to a comedy club, and Dave just so happened to be there. So you know what I did, right? I shouted, "Chappelle!" That shit freaked him out for real. After the set, Dave let us hang out with him to go cop him some weed. He said he needed the weed because we made his nerves bad.
True story.
True story.
That sounds like a Dave story. Yeah.
It wasn't that funny though. I wish I wouldn't have read it, but thank you for sharing, Freedom. Appreciate it, man. Like,
hey, it was his story.
That's right.
He said it.
Right.
He's famous now. So the last thing I'm gonna ask you, something I try to always ask everybody that I interview, and you may have already answered it because you said a lot toward it already. But if you had the opportunity to speak to a younger you, let's say a 15-year-old Eddie Bryant, if you could go
put the weed down, nigga. Sorry.
If you can get in the time machine and go back and have a conversation with that young man, being through everything you've been through and knowing everything you know now, what would that conversation be like? What kind of wisdom would you impart, or what would that be like?
Finish school, finish what you start. Be a bit more practical. You know what I mean? Save some money, and that would be it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, nothing too.
Where were you at 15?
I was
Saratoga?
No. I left Saratoga at 13.
Mm-hmm.
My dad still had an apartment over there, John. But so my cousin, that was crazy. So
Sorry, Eddie.
yeah, so we had to move out of Brentwood due to
I have to incriminate nobody.
Some shit happened.
Some stuff happened.
Yeah, that's all.
We're going to edit this whole segment out, right?
You have to move. We're going to move to a good neighborhood. Where we moving? Bladensburg. God. Somebody shoot me.
You was out there too, wasn't you, Dave?
Yeah.
Well, my folks grew up in Bladensburg.
You might have seen Dave running around the streets.
Okay.
Yeah, because at my grandmother's house, so we was all out there.
Oh, yeah. See, so
thugging and whatnot.
So about 15, I was somewhere around New Carrollton somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
just
running around trying to fake sell cocaine, and I lasted 2 weeks.
Hey,
I made enough money to buy some Jordans and a snake. That's what I spent my re-up money on. I was like,
so you gotta go make it and do
That's it for me.
Yeah, it's not.
I got my snake. I'm out.
But I mean, that's one of those things where you know pretty soon if you built to be like. I'm gonna tell you, I went to Hines Junior High School, and it was a group of guys, and they had some. It wasn't coke, it was weed, and they had some, and they was talking to me, and to one of them was the older brother of one of my best friends. And so they're talking to us and basically trying to get us to be they mute, they push us away. I don't know what you call it because I'm not a drug person. But anyway, so they gave us the weed and it was a hole in the fence. We left at lunchtime. We running across the street to the alley. And something just in me was like, nigga, what are you doing? This ain't you. Take your ass back. And I turned around and went back to school. And that afternoon, all of them got brought back by the police and their parents got called and all that. Wow. And that was my only almost foray into drug dealing. And it never happened. No.
Sound like a snitch.
That's what it sound like. So everybody got locked up. And you just came back to school.
You the only one that came, you put it down. Yeah.
30 years later, we find the truth.
I've told that story a bunch of times. Nobody ever knew what happened.
Because you ain't telling to no drug dealer niggas. It's like, we know what happened there, nigga.
Nah, I definitely did not snitch. It was my homies, but yeah, I definitely.
So you dropped the bottle at what time?
Mm-hmm. You know you done fucked up.
But it's definitely something that either you built for or you're not, basically. And the same thing with comedy. I think it's something that you either built for or not.
Yeah, right? Man. It's not for the, man, I'm trying to tell you. You see some people up there, you be like, you need to quit.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes you say that to people, you're not trying to break nobody's spirit, but you coming to mess up the party. You're messing up the party with this bullshit.
Right. That's the dude that went after Huggy that night. I told Jay about it. This is the reason I never wound up doing it. Because Huggy came in, killed, but when he left, when somebody really killed like that, they take all the air out of the room. Mm-hmm. And it was a new young man. He was sitting over there, and that room, it was, always mixed. So that night, it just happened to be all white people, and it was just me, my two friends, and then this dude was a black dude, and he was sitting there too. And so he got up to go on, and he did so bad that at one point he just started stating facts. Hey, I'm a black man, and I'm up here, and Huggy just went, and I'm trying. He stopped telling jokes and everything.
Black people got to get free out here,
man. So Ralph just pulled him off the stage. He went and sat down, and the whole time he's sitting over there, we could feel him looking at us. Like looking for approval. He never looked in his direction. Nope. I'm sorry, bro. I don't want people to think I'm with you, but it's time.
When comedians bomb,
and
they try to, you don't even look them in that because you don't want they bomb to get in your
right.
No, I'm talking to you after I get on stage, but right now, you're on your own.
It was a tough situation, and that night I was like, I'm probably not going. I'm gonna hold off.
When I first started, I would get on stage. I couldn't stay on stage for more than 2 minutes.
Okay.
And I would run out of fear.
And
then William Troxler was like, if you run off my stage tonight, you can't never get back on stage up here again. If you run today. And that made me stay and finish my set, sink or swim. And so, you get that light hit your butt.
Yeah.
Boy.
That shit's big.
It's different. Ain't no backup music.
Right, and that's what I was about to say, because I've done music, and even like in the booth, like I had a friend who I used to go to New York to record, and on the way up there, he rode with me, and I had a track playing that I'm working on, and he's singing to it. I'm like, bro, you good, man? I'm gonna put that as the hook. He's like, all right, bet. So we get up there, we get it. I put him in the booth, and we play the track, and we just sitting there listening, and nothing.
Yeah, that red record light, right, come on.
He's like, yeah, I'm good. Do it again. Did it again. Nothing. We did 6 times. I'm like, all right, just come on out. We'll figure something out. Don't worry about it. But it's that, the nerves get to you.
Pressure.
And it's human nature to make things bigger than or more difficult than they actually are.
That is the number one fear of humans. Speaking in front of people. It's like speaking in front of people, jumping out of an airplane.
Right.
One, two.
Seinfeld said it's public speaking is the number one fear, and number 2 is death.
Yeah.
So he was like, if you at a funeral, you would rather be in the casket than doing the
You better know it.
It's crazy.
Oh,
but man, I'm so glad that we had a chance to talk to you today. Like, you're one of the funniest dudes. Oh, I'm going to, speaking about supporting young guys on the way up, Rollo Boykins is doing Caroline.
Okay, you talk to Rollo's. Rollo get hit.
Oh, my fault. Yeah.
Go ahead. Rollo Boykins.
No, I'm just saying I'm going up on February 18th to talk about the Caroline, definitely. And but I say that to say, where you gonna be at next? Because I'm trying to be in the room, 100%.
Okay. Good.
That's the segue. I brought it back to you.
No. I will be at the Improv the 14th and 15th of February.
The Valentine's Day.
Take Shorty with me then.
There you go.
Date night.
So still my girl.
Yeah, no. So it's 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Also, I'm going to where you can't go to Germany. I'm going to Germany the beginning of
I
February.
ain't doing no traveling until they get corona under
Nah,
there.
I mean, you know, you be all right.
Right.
I'm going to put a
But that's
mask on
dope,
like
though.
everybody else. Yeah.
You doing Germany.
So go over there. Me and Brother Man from the 5th floor. We going over there,
Nice.
John.
Bruh, man.
Bruh Man from the 5th floor.
He's funny too, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's funny.
seeing him on the show, you think he like this one-dimensional character. Well, not even. He was good on there too, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you see him as a character. But
That's
man,
why
his
y'all gotta
stand-up-
go. That's why I want to implore to your audience: go to a stand-up comedy
Yes.
show
It's nothing
on
like it.
on a regular basis. Go see somebody that you don't know. Go check it out because there are so many great voices out there, and they want to be heard. They wrote some good stuff, and they want to perform for you. So
Yeah.
please add it to your repertoire. Go back to the clubs. Get off your phone. Stop
Right.
getting your laughs off of memes. Like, go get a real laugh.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
holla.
people ain't had a real laugh in
Yeah.
forever. Yeah, you still doing the Joe Clan Friends? Y'all still
Oh
doing it?
no. We
Okay.
we finished that,
Sorry.
and no, that's good. But yes, I'll be at the Improv on the 14th
14th and
and
15th. I got
15th
you.
of February.
Definitely. So yeah, and where can people find you for booking? For if they just want to look at your social media to get a laugh, and they
THE, The Eddie Bryant Show. The Eddie Bryant Show.com has all my information.
okay, TheEddieBryantShow.com. We'll post it on the website.
Thank
Zay, I know you got a couple of things you want to promote. You got shows coming up. You got music coming out.
Oh, that's
Talk to the people.
All right, so this Friday, January 31st, we continue in the Native Tongue Open Mic Series at Nubian Human. This month's feature is Tamika Love Jones, who's super dynamic, got a lot of energy, a lot of power. And she actually telling her story this Friday. So that's the most immediate thing coming up. Then, you know, the mixtape is out. It's doing pretty well. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all really listen to a nigga shit. Hey!
Yeah.
But the mixtape Jaysun for President is out. It's on my website, JaysonsLyrics.com. But it's JAYSUNS, JaysonsLyrics.com. So the mixtape's doing well. About to drop this single off the heels of the mixtape. You know, the single featuring myself, ML, and Uptown XO. Man, this joint is crazy. Like, I left the studio feeling giddy, nigga. I was like, woo, this is something special here.
Giddy.
Yeah, it's feeling giddy after I left the studio. So about to release that with the video. So yeah, and then in March, gearing up and performing. I've been the curator for the past 4 years of the Black Love Experience, but this is the first. Well, not the first year. This year I would be performing and not curating the Black Love Experience, but I would be on the main stage as a performer. So yeah, those are the things that I could think of off the top of my head. That's happening right now. That's all I got, Dave.
No, anything else we'll definitely put up on the page. Thank you guys for rocking with us.
Yeah.
We always appreciate the support. We got some great shows coming up in February, so definitely check us out. I want to thank Eddie Bryant one more time for coming through, man. We definitely appreciate having you in the building, man.
Yeah.
And bringing some laughter.
Yeah.
That's a joy to.
It's hard to make people laugh when we talk about funerals. For 30
Right. And then, you know,
We made
Jay's
it.
bleak outlook on the world. You know, we got
it's not
to
bleak.
counter out.
It's
You got to counter. I
realistic.
just be picking on
Y'all gonna need me one day.
Stamp though, nah, that's real. That's why I rock with you.
I know when it hit the fan, I know who door I'm knocking on.
Hey, look, the reason we call it
I got a bag
Neighborish.
full of guns, my grandma right here. Hey, listen.
Hey,
Where do we go?
The reason we call it Neighborish, I live right beside this dude, so I'm gonna be there too.
Oh, perfect. No, that's gonna be the
I
safest
might have
block.
the drinks and some movies to watch.
Yeah, that's the safest block in the world.
Hey,
Let's go.
But, thank you guys so much for checking us out.
Hey, hold up, man.
What's up?
Just to make sure we don't gloss over the greatness, the mindset of Kobe Bryant.
Definitely.
We don't want to allow his death to go in vain as some sports, basketball type thing. Please keep in mind the mentality, the Mamba mentality. Win by any means necessary. Dig deep in your heart and your spirit to do whatever it is that you can in your capabilities to claim victory and to win every obstacle that's placed in front of you. So salute to Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi, and that heart and passion that Kobe represents in the sports realm, but that could carry over into everyday life.
Definitely, and take these moments as a lesson to make sure that you do what you want to do. Chase those dreams. Have dreams first of all. Try to do more living and less just existing.
You motivated him to give his.
I'm like,
get the fuck out of here, Dave. You already did that shit.
On top of that,
right? But I want to add to it and say also
make sure that
anything that you can do. I can also do
for the simple fact that the whole, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
As far as, you know what I mean, don't let the spirit all the way deep.
It's what's funny though? It's funny because it's real though.
Yeah.
It's like we do all have that in us, and that may be a joke, but it probably did trigger some feeling.
It motivated
you know
me.
what I'm saying? So it's like we joke about that shit, but it's like,
nigga.
I love y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. I love you, Dave. I love you, Eddie.
I love you,
You black men, and
y'all are cool. I don't know if love is the
nah, fuck that. I love my brothers, man, because we don't know when it's our time.
That's right.
So we got to make sure it's said. Tell somebody you love them today.
Hell yeah.
And tomorrow, and every day you wake up and breathe, tell somebody
love, peace, and hair grease
that we sell at Nubian Humans or organic.
Natural. All right, man.
Made out of noni juice.
Juices and berries. All right, man. We out, man. Thank y'all for watching the Nubian Human, the Neighborish Livecast. We'll be back next week. Peace.